Hello, friends. When you say, I pray, what does it mean? What do you do when you pray? What is praying for you? What's your way of praying? Most of us, it seems, at least in the earlier phases of our spiritual life, we tend to treat prayer as sort of like knocking on God's door to ask a favor. You know, God being someone, something outside of ourselves, up there, far away. Sorry I haven't reached out in so long. It's been a long time, I know. But I need something. Can you help me out? That's unfortunately what prayer is for many. But hopefully not for long. And I have touched on this before, but I wanted to bring it to the forefront. The topic of upgrading your prayer. Now, of course, God is, people have different interpretations of what God is. So I'm speaking, I do believe that there is a supreme divine entity, the supreme all, the supreme is, the source, sustainer, and provider of all. Okay, and you just interpret it the way that your understanding leads you to, okay? But I'll just use the word God. So, God is not apart from us and is not outside of us, nor are we apart from God or outside of God. Sort of the Rumi's quote of the droplet in the ocean, that, you're not a droplet in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a droplet. Well, we are as much in God as God is within us. A blessing I like to use that came to me some years back, may you abide in divinity as divinity abides in you. Because it's always both, And we're not apart, we're not separate, we're not outside of. Now, things that we can do in error can create the experience of us being separated or apart from, as far as experientially. But in actuality, no, we're not. But we can create an experience of being so if we choose. God is also not a wish-granting ATM machine or a genie in a bottle, much as we, in our worship of self, small s, would often like it to be. We sometimes have to admit that we tend towards wishing it was that way sometimes, which is really, really blind and misled. But it does happen if we stray and go into ignorance and in unawareness and disconnection. It's been said, pray as if God is right there with you. I disagree with this. There is no as if God is right there with you. You are in God. God is in you. So that's a very, 3D dualistic misinterpretation of things. It's a huge limitation on what actually is. So rather than saying, oh, I'm going to pray as if God is right with me, as if, that's your wrong step. Okay? So remember that you are in God, and God is in you. I don't remember the exact Sufi quote, as always, but something to the effect of a Sufi master was conversing with God and said, oh God, how can I get close to you? How can I connect to you? And God said, you already are. Just remove and eliminate everything that limits that or gets in the way of that. And spirituality is almost always that way. It's a matter of releasing and letting go of, realizing what something is, releasing yourself from it, i.e. releasing it from you. Same thing. Let go of all that gets in the way of what already perfectly is. I'm looking at some notes here, which I don't usually do, but don't pray your agenda onto other people's situations or onto other people. You may mean well. You may have what you would consider to be the noblest, purest, highest, and even holiest intentions possible. You may be blameless for that. However, do not pray your agenda onto people. And don't even pray your agenda onto you. If you want to be really transcended of self and the limitations, again, of living in a dualistic 3D self-worshipping paradigm that is everywhere, especially today. Just look around. You don't even have to look around. It'll come to you. So, in other words, maybe you recognize that somebody that you care for is in need in some way. Rather than saying, oh, dear God, I've come with a checklist of things that I need your help making manifest in this person's reality. Hello, bird. Rather than that, essentially pray, thy will be done. And it doesn't matter if you follow the Christian faith or not, which is what that phrase comes from. But again, it doesn't matter if you come from a Christian or Buddhist or Zoroastrian or any other tradition or none at all. The point is, you are praying what I like to call the highest prayer. And the highest prayer I have mentioned before, but the highest prayer is a form of spoken prayer that comes from the least amount of self engaged in the prayer as possible, where I'm at now. And that prayer is, suppose you are praying for someone named Jane, okay? I'll just use the word Jane. So you would say, I rejoice in thankfulness for Jane's highest good, in the most benevolent outcome of divine love, especially as applied to whatever the situation that you're praying for her is about, her health, whatever it's about, okay? So again, lots of words, but it's because of being thorough. Number one, I rejoice in thankfulness. I am preemptively thankful. Number one, because of the power of thankfulness and gratitude in the energy field of the universe. It is you could call it a blessings magnet. Number two, because it is an overt action that demonstrates absolute trust in divinity, in the divine will, in divine love applied directly to the situation that Jane is facing. So instead of saying, oh, you God up there who is separate from me, I have a checklist, please help me or help her, here's the list of my agenda for her that I think is good for her, etc., etc., etc. And it may be. But again, you're bypassing, you're dismissing your own self, small s, self agenda in your prayer. And you are saying, I rejoice now, ahead of time, in advance, in thankfulness. Again, I like thankfulness better than gratitude because gratitude is an energy of appreciation, but thankfulness is an energy of appreciation directed to a specific source of the giving, who is God. All right? The divine, you can say divine love, because God is divine love, okay? So, I rejoice in thankfulness for Jane's highest good. Her highest good. Not what I think is her highest good. Not my laundry list of what defines her highest good. But what is her highest good. Regardless of what I think about it or what I would have it be. In the most benevolent outcome. The best possible fruits and results of divine love. There is no higher force or energy or greater power than divine love, as specifically applied to her situation, if you want to add that tag at the end. Okay, so you get the essence. You're being preemptively thankful in absolute trust for what is truly and divinely best for her, with the highest, purest power that exists applied to her life. And where I'm at right now, that is what I call the highest prayer. And that evolved. It didn't start out that way, but it evolved that way when I prayed for several months for someone I could not love more, who was facing a very dire challenge, and came out of it perfectly, by the way. And that preemptive thankfulness then made a whole lot more sense if you had a little bit of question as to why I'm being thankful first. Be thankful first, I assure you, in all things. Be thankful first. It makes a huge difference. Might make all the difference. It also is important that it shows that you are trusting in the divine will. Thy will be done. I set aside what I would have happen, which I might mean well and it might be good, but I know that there is more beyond my ability to understand, and that it is better than anything I could come up with in the limitations of self. And I yield small s self to the all, the supreme being, the divine love, big S self. Let that intention manifest. I now contribute my sacred spiritual energy towards that in alignment, agreement, attunement. I offer my contribution as well to that energy stream. It's also very important when you pray that you genuinely care. Care is the lubrication, the agent that will see it through, that you generally care. If you blah, blah, blah your way through prayer, forget it. Better you just didn't do it at all. Caring and feeling that it already is so. I did not say feeling as if it is already so, or feeling like it's about to become so. No, feeling the fact that it is already done, which is what Amen means. So be it. It is done. Okay? And again, I don't care if you're coming from Jewish or Hindu or Muslim or Buddhist or Zoroastrian or Jain or Quaker or... I don't care. These are universal spiritual principles that apply to us all, which everything that I try to share on this channel is like that. So your preemptive thankfulness is massive. Your absolute trust is massive. Your care and your feeling that it is already done, your caring in your heart, true love, is critical. And feeling that it is already done, which should give another wave of thankfulness should surge within you from that. This is the kind of prayer that I encourage you to start making your standard practice. Remember to be blessed, and remember you are the blessing. It is our duty to give the light that we have within us to glow for everyone with whatever light we've got.